I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from Luke chapter 9, and we'll focus on verses 51 through 56. When the days were coming to a close for him to be taken up, Jesus determined to journey to Jerusalem. He sent messengers ahead of him, and on the way they entered a village of the Samaritans to make preparations for him. But they didn't welcome him because he determined to journey to Jerusalem. When the disciples James and John saw this, they said, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven to consume them?" But he turned and he rebuked them, and then they went to another village. You know, a Samaritan in Jesus' day was a person of mixed descent. What do I mean? They were part Jewish and part Gentile. And in ancient history, in the Bible, Israel had been divided nationally and spiritually. Now, 10 of the tribes formed what was known as Israel, or the northern kingdom, while the remaining 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin, formed what was known as Judea, or the southern kingdom. And Judea worshiped in Jerusalem, and Israel, or the northern kingdom, worshiped in Samaria. Now, in Samaria, Israel's great evil was that they went straightway into idolatry. And their rejection of worship in Jerusalem and their acceptance of pagan deities grew to the point where they were intermarrying with Gentiles. And the presence of these, what they considered to be half-breeds in Israel during Jesus' day, well, the presence of them was a reminder of a historic national sin. It was a shame. And it was also the focus of prejudice for the average to religious Jew. Note that James and John had a really bad attitude. They wanted the judgment of Sodom and Gomorrah to fall upon the Samaritans. That's pretty bad prejudice. So why wouldn't the Samaritans want for Jesus to go to Jerusalem? Well, the answer may be found in John's gospel, the story of the woman at the well. You see, before the events of today's passage, Jesus had engaged in a conversation with a Samaritan woman, let's just say of ill reputation. And the setting was Jacob's well, which is located in Samaria. And the symbolism is that Jacob was the father of Israel's 12 tribal patriarchs. And Jesus is speaking with a woman who symbolizes the spiritual character of a kind of Jewish person, and who are dark reminders of Israel's not so faithful history. And yet Jesus was willing to speak with her and be kind to her. By the way, modern Judaism considers Jewish believers in Jesus in the same light as their forefathers considered the Samaritans of Jesus' day. Partly Jewish plus partly Gentile, in their opinion, equals apostate. Jesus' offering of living water to the woman at the well, which is different from Jacob's well water. Well, his offering of living water was culturally and spiritually revolutionary. Remembering that he had come to the Jew first, we must deduct that Jesus was officially recognizing the Samaritan's Jewishness, while still holding to the biblical standard for true belief and salvation of all people. In response, this woman ran and told the Samaritan men who came to hear Jesus. And they too believed, and they told the woman, "We no longer believe because of what you said, for we have heard for ourselves, and we know that this really is the Messiah." So why did the Samaritans in Luke chapter 9 not welcome Jesus on his way to Jerusalem after such a revival seemed to be happening earlier? Well, I believe, possibly, that it's because they loved Jesus, not because they hated him. And they knew what the Jewish leaders in Jerusalem would do to him. And yet they were wrong in this because they were actually hindering his mission in trying to protect Jesus. So let's not commit the same offense. We don't need to protect Jesus or even his image. We must simply believe in him, pray, and seek his word. And we should trust his word when we share the gospel, not adding to it or withholding anything from it. We must share the whole gospel, letting Jesus complete the work which He intends to accomplish in the lives of those with whom we share the gospel. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at www.groundworksministries.com.